If you walk into a large room, you're going to see various doors and most likely has a sign on top of each door or on the door itself. And that sign usually contains a four-letter word, which spells EXIT, exit. When you see that sign, probably two things come to your mind. I won't miss my way when I'm trying to leave this hall, or in case of emergency, I know where to run to. It's passing a specific instruction to you. Now, if you try to deduce the source of that information, you can't conclude that this information came as a result of chance. You'd conclude that this information was intentional. In other words, EXIT is passing an information to you, and you would deduce that this information definitely has a source or has a mind behind it with an intent behind it. Now, you understand the intent because, of course, it's an exit. You use it to go out. You also understand that someone or a group of people are trying to communicate something to you, even if it's just a four-letter word. Now, let's look at something different. Biologists have discovered that the human DNA contains about 3.2 billion letters in a meaningful sequence. Now, the word exit contains four letters in meaningful sequence, EXIT, which means to leave. It's the same way the human genome, the DNA, contains about 3.2 billion letters in a meaningful sequence that gives instructions to build proteins and to regulate the cells in the human body. Now, to put 3.2 billion letters into perspective, if you put that into a book, it will make up about 200 to 500 books, with each book contain about 500 pages. Now imagine you see 300 books stacked up in a library. Do you conclude those books just happened to be? Especially when the book contains meaningful information, it just happened to be, or it just appeared out of nowhere, or it just evolved. Of course, when you see a book, definitely you deduce that each book has to have an author, and every author has to have an intent behind every book that he or she is writing. Every author has a mind, and that mind is a source of intelligence, meaning that every book contains intelligent information, or let's just say information. You can't see books, novels, literatures and conclude this was random. You have to conclude that these are a series of information that was willfully passed across to the intending reader. So if you can't make that kind of conclusion or deduction that every big book just happened, why would people today make this wild conclusion that seeing something as detailed, as precise as the information contained in the genome happened by evolution? Really?